of Hazaras in Afghanistan. We, the representative of the Hazara diaspora in Australia, express our deepest concern at the declining security situation in Afghanistan. The life, security, and well-being of every Afghan is of equal concern to all of us. In the last 2 months, there have been 5 incidents of kidnapping of innocent passengers unaffiliated to any side of the conflict at the hands of elements party to the conflict and illegal militia groups. The prominent case of the abduction of 31 Hazaras, mostly shopkeepers, day labourers and passengers visiting their families from Zabul province in late February is of a particular ongoing concern. 2 months on, the Afghan government has not only failed to secure their release, it has also adopted an attitude of silence and secrecy about the kidnapping, the identity of the abductors and their demands. The families of the 31 abductees, including their children, have camped out near the presidential palace in Kabul in a desperate attempt to seek the government's attention for the safe release of their loved ones and breadwinners. Afghan civil society activists and Afghan diaspora in Australia, Europe and the United States are joining the families of the 31 abducted passengers to call on the Afghan government to do more to secure the safe and immediate freedom of the 31 Afghan citizens and offer transparent updates about its efforts. Expressing our grave concern to the government's indifference and failure to secure the release of its citizens, asserting the need to avoid using citizens as political instruments in the ongoing conflict, we, the Afghan community in Australia, make the following demands to the Afghan government, the Australian government, as well as the United Nations. 1. In the light of the claims made by the Afghan government that the current conditions are suitable for negotiations with opposition forces, the government must immediately cease all peace talks until the release of the kidnapped Hazaras. 2. We're deeply concerned at the indifference of the government and the rise of ISIS in Afghanistan and the revival of Hazara persecution at the hands of disarmed militias. 3. We state that the 5 incidents of kidnapping of Hazaras and killings in the past 2 months is of a great concern to the diaspora and us globally. These coward incidents of targeted kidnapping of Hazaras would drive more people to desperate and life-threatening journeys to seek asylum abroad, if not prevented and immediately seized. 4. We ask the government to tackle the issue of Hazara persecution so that we do not witness another ethnic massacre in the country. 5. We plead with the Independent Human Rights Commission and other human rights organizations to employ all their efforts towards the release of all kidnapped Hazaras. 6. We thank all civil society organizations and movements, our fellow countrymen and women, for their ongoing vocal support and ask that they continue their vital and worthy efforts on this front. 7. We urge the United Nations Assistance Mission in Afghanistan, which has been a strong and consistent voice for the protection of civilians, to join in the efforts for the safe return of the 31 kidnapped passengers and speak out about the alarming increase in civilian kidnappings and casualties. 8. We call on the Embassy of the Islamic State of Afghanistan in Australia to communicate our demands onto the Afghan government. 9. We, the Afghan community in Australia, plead with the Australian government to apply maximum efforts against the increasing insecurity in Afghanistan, the increase of ISIS presence, the kidnapping of innocent civilians, in particular those of targeted ethnic groups. Moreover, we ask the Australian government to assist and urge the National Unity Government of Afghanistan to make all possible efforts to secure the safe and timely release of the 31 kidnapped passengers. Noting that the increase in insecurity in Afghanistan affects all nations, in particular those countries that Afghans seek refuge in. 10. We ask the Australian government and other organisations to take the grave insecurity plaguing Afghanistan with absolute seriousness. Specifically, we ask that in the light of official warnings by the Department of Foreign Affairs relating to the security situation in Afghanistan, the Australian government cease sending back Afghan asylum seekers to Afghanistan, as their lives will be endangered by the Taliban and other terrorist organisations. The forced return of Afghans seeking refuge in Australia must be stopped immediately. We ask the Australian government to take a humanitarian approach towards the plight of Afghan asylum seekers and their families, in particular Afghans of Hazara ethnicity, who are ever increasingly the victims of intimidation and are continuously targeted. These asylum seekers have turned to Australia and the Australian community and sought refuge. It is therefore hoped that they are dealt with in a humane and compassionate way, and that their plight and that of their families is resolved, freeing them from the state of limbo and embracing them as a part of the multicultural Australian community. Thank you very much.